time for the Chicago Cubs. They need to start racking up wins against bad teams. Let's go.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Please support the show by following on your preferred audio platform, and you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you whenever and wherever you may be listening to this Tuesday episode. So excited about this next stretch of 12 games for the Cubs. 2 with the White Sox, 3 with the Royals, 3 with the Tigers, and 4 with the Pirates. And that's mainly what's on the docket for us today here on the show. We're going to talk from the Cubs perspective first, of course. And then we will get to the Brewers set of 11 games for them, and then also 12 games for the Reds as well. Sam, the Cubs have been rock solid since June 9th. They've had ebbs and flows in the schedule, but this is a clear pocket of 12 games that's light.
It's an off day. Can you ask me how I'm doing? Can we do one of those little bits? I want to ask you, did you have a good Monday? Because I didn't. I woke up at about 7:15 and it rained literally until this recording time. And, it was one of those days. I wanted an off day. And then by noon, I was miserable that the Cubs didn't play. You know what I mean?
Right. It set in about noon.
Yeah, or I should say by noon I was miserable that they weren't going to play. But fine, sure, I'll just jump right into it. I mean, you don't care how I'm doing. Nobody cares how I'm doing. You got all these personal things happening.
Locked On told me I couldn't ask you how you were doing.
Okay.
Which I don't agree with.
I just like to get, I just like to warm up a bit before we jump right into the meat.
And I agree.
Because look,
And today was my first official day at my new school.
Yeah, and you look really good.
Thank you.
Day.
It was the first work day was new teacher orientation.
This show's already done.
And first day with students is next week. Go ahead.
Yeah, and we all wish you the best of luck. And I'll just continue making no announcements about my life because nothing's happening. Anyway, yes, this 12-game stretch for the Cubs, in my opinion, is going to be the difference maker for the rest of the year, because I think that there is a path, to take your term, where after these 12 games, they're in first place and they don't look behind them the rest of the campaign.
Whoa.
No, I don't think that's a whoa. I mean, they should win 8 or 9 or 12 of these games.
Absolutely. But to have that big of an effect on the whole year, that's not what I'm reacting to. That these 12 out of 44 can make that much of a difference. But I agree with you.
And it's a big stretch, and just as important as them as it is that Milwaukee drops a lot of games in their stretches. Now, how are the Cubs going to win these games? Honestly, if they could just keep doing what they're doing offensively and just get a little bit better pitching overall. I think it starts with Kyle, and then it goes to Stroman. If those guys could get on track, I think Steele, I think you said last week that he might get skipped. I don't think he's going to.
No, not officially.
Because these games are too big.
Right.
And so, I think he's going to just dominate Kansas City. And,
yeah, I would think so.
And so, they should get rolling. And we talk about this all the time. The Cubs have done the hard part. The hard part is hanging in there and beating teams that are really good. Now you got to go pound on the teams that aren't very good. They just did that about a month ago when they won 8 in a row, or a little bit less than a month ago. And now it's time to do that again. And there are some frustrating things. I'm getting annoyed by the Marlins, who beat Houston again. But I know the Cubs are better than these teams. And now it's time to rattle off 10 out of 12 and go show it.
I love it. I love it. I reflect some of what you're feeling on a Monday in terms of no baseball. I know I for sure feel it on Thursday, especially if the Cubs sweep that team from the South Side, just where
Ugh.
it kind of sets in and you're
Right.
not coming home to a game. And two of those in 1 week is a lot. But it's a clear light stretch where they can, make a huge divot in the standings, or at least some of a removal of the games behind that they're in. And there's a multitude of ways that could happen. I mean, looking at the White Sox series itself, just as a sample of these 12 games, it's going to be Hendricks versus Toussaint and then Stroman versus Clevenger. And I have some stuff from Fangraphs for next segment about even just their game predictor. And I'm just going to do the next series for Cubs, Brewers, and Reds. But stretching it out, these 11, 12 games, it's not even close. And again, baseball's not played on a computer, but all models, including what we see on a daily basis, favor the Cubs right now. I don't care that they're 3.5 back of the division, if they're 1 back of the third wild card, it doesn't matter. Because I do think this 12-game stretch of the last 44 is that big. And for a team built on pitching and defense, because that's what Jed decided, we have learned since June 9th that the offense actually can support the pitching and defense.
Carry them.
We learned that the bullpen has 4 main pieces that you can rely on consistently. Now there's some role reversal. Offense has actually carried or made up for the starting pitching.
100%.
How does Stroman return? What is going on with Hendricks? What will Assad's role be moving forward? What will Smiley's role being forward? Do Happ and Suzuki emerge as any major offensive threat? Do the day-to-day lineups become less matchup heavy? There's a lot on the table, but I feel fine.
You know what bothered me today? There was a tweet. I think it was Marquis said the Cubs are 25-11 when Tauchman starts at leadoff, and
you must be joking.
No, I'm not. Go on Twitter.
Are you serious?
And everybody started like retweeting it. Was like, whoa, why don't they start him more? And I'm thinking to myself, we've been talking about this for 2 weeks.
I had that exact stat.
Yeah. No, yeah. You had it like a week ago.
Wait a second.
Yeah. So
I'm going to have to look that up after the taping here.
Yeah, but look.
Oh, so a fan of ours actually tagged me. Credit Matt Cozy underneath.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, I just think with the Cubs right now, outside of Bellinger,
Unreal.
There really isn't much like, everybody just has to play their role. Like Hendricks had a really bad start against the Braves. He was fine against the Mets. Just be Kyle Hendricks. If Marcus Stroman could just be Marcus Stroman, the Cubs are going to be fine. And it is, though, a shift in mindset, right? Because when you play at Toronto and you play at home against Atlanta, you kind of feel a little bit like you're playing with house money, like the wins feel like extra. Now it's the opposite. The losses are going to feel like extra.
Yeah.
So you really got to make sure you win as many as you can. To set a goal for you, I'd probably say 4-1 on this mini 5-game homestand.
Okay.
Then they go to Pittsburgh for 4, take 3 there. And then take 2 out of 3 in Detroit, and that puts you at 9-3.
Yeah, 9-3 is excellent. I would say if there's a floor, which I don't really want there to be, but 8-4 plus.
Yeah, 8-4. 8 has to be the floor.
I don't know. When I hear it though, it doesn't sound good. I know it is mathematically, but I want more.
Well,
can you blame me for wanting more against these 4 clubs?
Well, as long as they're in a position here's a different way to phrase it.
White Sox are horrible.
As long as they're in a position where when Milwaukee comes to town in a couple of weeks, they're within a game or tied, then they did their job. They're in this spot.
Wow, yeah, that'd be fantastic.
And then they should beat up on Milwaukee, which they will. And then after that series, they'll be in first place.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
And that episode will do a lot of numbers.
Wow.
You can see it now in the bright lights. The Chicago Cubs are in first place.
Yeah, well, I want to get top 10 on the Apple charts for baseball.
Yeah, I want to
So
get top.
If you haven't reviewed and 5-starred the show on Apple yet, please do.
I want to get top 10 in anything. That's gonna be tough.
Now, is there anybody that strikes you
No,
that
no,
needs to play what you would say like play above their baseball card? Like you said, Stroman's got to be Stroman, Hendricks has to be Hendricks. Is it just the way they've been doing, or does anyone need to play a little bit above?
I think Talkman has been playing above and has to continue. They need this version of him. He is integral in what's happening. I mean, because offensively, a lot of guys. I mean, Talkman and Bellinger and Morel and Gomes, all those guys have played much better than I think we anticipated. But I'm looking at that. It's been such a big sample size now where I'm saying that's who they are in 2023. And so it has to continue to be that. But yeah, no, Talkman, the Cubs can't afford to have him regress, or, Bellinger has to be one of the top guys in baseball right now. That's been the recipe. That's why they are one of the best teams in the league since July 1st, because they have one of the best players in the league since July 4th. It's not that hard to figure out.
It's not rocket science.
The Braves are really good because, they have two of the top three guys in the league on their team.
So are the Dodgers.
Yeah, and the Dodgers have that Freeman guy that seems to be able to hit 340 every year.
Yeah, no, it's unreal.
Okay. No, it's a big stretch. You got to win. Win. 1-0, 20-0, 7-5, 8-3, 19-6. I don't care how they do it. Just get W after W. No celebrations. Lock in. Business.
And it is a big stretch, especially considering the schedules of the Brewers and Reds. And we talk about that next. Today's episode is presented by Ibotta. Ibotta. Picking up burgers and hot dogs for a summer barbecue. You're already doing it, so why not get cash back for it with Ibotta? Ibotta gives you cash back on hundreds of grocery items, from produce to personal care to pantry goods. So you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. Either link your loyalty account or upload your receipt after you shop and get your cash back. It's that easy with Ibotta. You can earn cash back on hundreds of online brands and retailers as well when you start with Ibotta, including Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying it by using the code MLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app and use code MLB. That's Ibotta, Ibotta, in the Google Play or App Store, and use code MLB. The Cubs play the White Sox at 7:05 p.m. Central Tuesday, and you can listen to every pitch with the Cubs hometown broadcast on Sirius XM. On the SXM app, search Cubs, or tune in to channel 844 and catch the Cubs all season long on Sirius XM. Entering Tuesday's action, the Cubs are 3.5 games back of the Brewers of first place in the NL Central, and 1 game back of the third wild card spot, which the Marlins currently hold. We talked about the Cubs' next 12 games. The Brewers have 11 in that time span, 3 with the Dodgers, 2 with the Rangers, 2 with the Twins, 3 with the Padres. And the Reds have 12 games. Also 2 with the Guardians, 3 with the Blue Jays, 3 with the Angels, and 4 with the Diamondbacks. The Reds and Diamondbacks are also within 3 games of that third wild card spot. What do you think about the Brewers and Reds matchups? Because on paper, they're so much tougher.
No, and I think the Brewers are very good at beating bad teams, but typically when they play good ones, they get exposed a bit because you can't margin your way to beating teams that are that much better than you. And I think they're in trouble. I really do. I really think that these next 2 weeks, the Brewers are going to lose games. I really believe that. It's dangerous because they have Peralta, Woodruff, and Burns all kind of clicking right now. But I just think those teams are better. They're going to drop games. I think the Reds already are fading, and they're going to fade even more. And I think it just highlights, this opportunity for the Cubs. I really believe after this bulk that you just described, the Cubs should be firmly in the wild card spot and right there, if not a game and a half or so out from Milwaukee. And that's what they need to do. But it's critical because it's not, baseball's baseball. They could, Hendricks could go out and give up 5 on Tuesday night in the first inning, and all of a sudden things don't feel as good. So
Sure.
I think Tuesday's game, especially with an off day Thursday, is a big game. It's just you had an off day, you just came from a long trip, get going, get those bats going quick, get the vibes good, and set the tone for the homestand. And I think Milwaukee's in trouble. The Dodgers are just much better than them, and Texas is just much better than them. I mean, if they come out of that 6-game stretch at 3-3, they are celebrating in the locker room, and I mean celebrating. And think about what our next 6 games are: 2 against KC, 3 against KC, 2 against the Sox, and then add 1 in Pittsburgh. We should be coming out of there 4-2, 5-1. So even if best case scenario for them, we still should be gaining a game.
Absolutely. And, to that end, a lot of these predicting models feel that way as well. And I just wanted to share that briefly. For as old school as I have evolved, I went from old school to new, back to old in recent years. I still do like FanGraphs, and the game predictor for this upcoming series, in which the Cubs and Reds have a 2-gamer and the Brewers have a 3-game series. Cubs have a 59% chance to win both White Sox games. Reds is more of a toss-up, 52-48. That's against the Guardians. And the Brewers have really low numbers here, Sam, as you say. That's against the Dodgers out on the West Coast, I believe. 35, 33, and 46. And the 46 is with Burns. So that just backs up what you're saying.
Right.
And puts them as definite underdogs there. And to etch out some of these games just in the next few days would be a tremendous start to what is this 11 or 12 game stretch. So,
right.
Clear differences in the strength of schedule. It's just a matter of doing it. And I'm certainly going to enjoy the ride along the way.
Yeah, and there's no reason to think that they're not going to do it either. Like, I'm confident. I'm very confident. I'm not going into this thinking, oh, this could be a trap or anything.
No,
of that nature at all. I don't think that there's much of a reason for them not to go out and win 8-9 of these 12 games. I mean, there's really been no signs. They've had one bad series in the last 5 or 6,
right?
And still the Mets are a different class than the teams they're about to be playing. I mean, there's no Pete Alonsos that they're getting ready to deal with, or
there's really one single player this whole week, and that's Bobby Witt.
Right. Unless Robert, I think, is he's hurt. I don't know what's up with
He's hurt
him
right now,
yeah,
but he's day to day technically.
Yeah, but no, I mean, you look at it like, the Alonso thing, as much as it was malpractice by the Cubs brass,
sure,
it also was kind of fluky. Like he hit a homer almost every time.
He had like 10 RBIs.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And that's when you're playing at the level the Cubs are playing, that's what it takes to beat them. And then they went into Toronto and they won that series, and they won it. Like, it wasn't like they stole it; they won it. So
right.
I don't see many concerns. Maybe they have a slip up in one of the 2 games against the Sox, so they'll come back and beat up on Kansas City. Who knows?
We finish up with some prospects talk. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is back here as a show sponsor on Locked On Cubs. And they're here not necessarily because of baseball. Football season is about to kick off. The Bears won their preseason opener this past weekend, dude. Justin Fields was throwing passes, and they were sacking that quarterback. Who was that on the Titans? Levis?
No, and then what, Levis? Right?
They played the Titans, right?
No, I was trying to think of what their first stringer's name was. That day,
Tannehill.
No, but he didn't play. But go ahead. There's a different guy, Malik something.
FanDuel's giving you the chance to win all season long on the football season, because right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, maybe it's the beloved, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. And that is going to be at least 9 times for the Bears, I believe. I think they're going to go 9-8 this campaign.
No, I think 10.
Nick Cozy thinks 10, and you think 10. Interesting.
Yeah, 10-7.
Maybe he got that from you. Just
No,
pick
man.
any team to win the Super Bowl. You'll get bonus bets for every victory. We're talking Justin Fields. We're talking DJ Moore. We're talking Khalil Herbert. Okay. Defensively, they still got some questions, but offensively, they're exciting.
Yeah.
Spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sports book. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Prospects rankings were updated by MLB Pipeline late last week. And the Cubs top 10 right now is like this: Crow Armstrong, Horton, Casey, Alcantara, Brown, Shaw. That's Matt Shaw already there in 6th place in the prospect list, just being drafted last month. Ballesteros, Ferris, Triantos, and Wicks. That's the top 10 in the org. And PCA, Horton, Casey, Alcantara, and Brown, the top 5 there, are all in the top 91 in all of baseball. PCA's 12th, Brown's 91, with those 3 other dudes in between. So more indication that the Cubs have a strong system. I know for me, I don't know if it's ignorance or being naive, but I personally like to live in the present. And so when the team is winning at the major league level, and this, I just want to get this off my chest, I do not follow / care about prospects as much.
Right. I think that's...
I always thought it was something like when your team loses, right? And I get it. Their farm system is strong, but I'm going to enjoy the good moments at the farm level right now. The major league level, rather.
I still think
rather than the farm.
I think you pay attention to it. You just don't emphasize it because we're
exactly.
We're in a divisional race. The crazy thing is, Matt, and I was thinking about this about an hour ago as we were prepping for the show separately. And, before the season, I said, this season's twofold, right? It's what happens at the big league level. They need to compete. And then you need to see major growth from some of your big prospects at the minor league level. And I'm thinking to myself, if the season ended today, now technically the Cubs would miss out on the playoffs, but they also have more games to play. So really they wouldn't yet.
Right.
But I mean, like even right now, the Marlins have played more than them. So like they're ahead.
I think 2 games more.
Yeah, right. The Cubs are right there in a playoff spot, and they have one of the best systems in baseball. Like this season, as crazy as it's been, it's been a smashing success so far.
Wow.
They didn't sell at the deadline.
That was one of the goals.
PCA.
That was one of the goals.
Has went from being a, hey, this guy's got a high floor, we'll see, to one of the best.
Consensus top 10.
He's one of the best prospects in baseball, and AAA doesn't really seem to phase him at all.
No.
Cade Horton looks like the guy that we've been waiting for since Mark Pryor. It's early on, of course.
Right.
But not to overly drink the Kool-Aid, but, for me, the only real issues of this organization right now lie within
game
decisions and stuff with Jed, where these missed signings like Mancini that take too long.
Marginal signings.
In terms of like the scouting and player and where things are, I mean, you have to feel pretty good right now, don't you?
Yeah, for sure.
How many teams in baseball? Here's a good question. How many teams in baseball right now are competing for a postseason spot, and have a great farm system. It's just a handful.
The Dodgers.
Yeah, Dodgers are up there.
I don't know much about the Brave system.
Baltimore, Cincinnati.
I know for sure Orioles, Dodgers.
The Braves don't even need a system because every young player they have is already signed.
Right.
It's like it's done. That's the team that you see right now is their team for the next 5 years.
They're a cheat code.
Yeah, but no, it's just good stuff.
Absolutely.
So let's just win a game, and
you better watch out with your voice. You might get a comment.
Yeah, no, but nobody likes
someone commented today. Oh, glad you two aren't the manager of the Cubs. Yeah, I'm an English teacher, man.
and I don't know what I do. So
I mean, geez, thanks for the comment.
Well, if I were manager of the Cubs, we'd be a 95 win club. But sure, whatever you'd like to say. I wouldn't have had Nico Horner.
Took that in stride.
I wouldn't have had Nico Horner leading off or early on.
Here we go.
And Trey Mancini by May 15th would not be on this club. So if anything, I think we'd be better. But thanks for the comment.
All right, well, it's only a 30-minute show, so we're gonna get out of here. And Cubs
show.
White Sox Tuesday, Wednesday.
Man, that used to be like a fun rivalry. Now it's just motor through those guys.
Well, I have to say, I don't like Major League Baseball putting two-game series. Just during the week. Just do 1 3-gamer on a weekend.
Or 4, Thursday through Sunday.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. And get some afternoon tilts in there.
Yeah.
What's with all these night games against the Palos, man?
Yeah, right.
So
all right.
We're gonna hopefully go live after one of these games, most likely after Wednesday's game. But hey, if they win Tuesday, we could as well. So stay tuned for that. Shout out to the Everydayers for with us all 5 episodes throughout the week, and you can become an Everydayer by checking us out each and every week.
Are you all right? Are you okay? Are you laughing at my face?
No, I have the Google Doc in front of me.
Oh,
I'm just laughing at the how much enjoyment I get out of doing this show and how fun it is.
Good. And, God bless you.
And how, you said you could win 95 games.
Oh, I would be a 95. If I were the manager of this team, they win 95 games.
Be sure to hit that subscribe.
I don't think that's an
subscribe button for Locked On Cubs on YouTube and smash the like button.
I can manage this team from my couch.
Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast.
Those Neskies can't get out lefties.
And streaming on Sirius XM. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.